Hi and welcome to Airlock videos. My name is Jerry, and in this second part of Social Login and Bring Your Own Identity video, I show you how to set up Airlock IAM for social login. If you do not know what social login is, I highly recommend to check out the first video, which explains the basics of social login. You will find the link in the description below. In this second part, we are talking about the prerequisites and Airlock IAM configuration. So what do we need to enable the social login feature in Airlock IAM and how to set up the configuration. Please be aware that I'm not going to show every step on how to set up the plugins. Instead, I will show you a prepared configuration to keep this video as short as possible. In order to use social login, please make sure that you use at least Airlock IAM version 7.x, order a valid license at order@airlock.com, are in possession of a client ID and client secret from your identity provider such as Google, and activate the corresponding allow rule on the Airlock WAF IAM mapping. So let's get started. In this first use case, I show you how to set up Airlock IAM as an OpenID relying party, so that local accounts can be linked with the social account. If you don't know what an OpenID relying party is, check out the first video where I explain some OpenID basics. Please note, I will only explain the most necessary and important settings and won't go through every detail. Let's head over to the configuration. All the settings for the social login can be found in the Login App config tree. So let's click on Login App. On the right side, you will find the submenu, OAuth and OpenID Connect. Let's expand this submenu. Let's have a look at the plugin settings by clicking on the blue arrow icon. The OpenID Connect plugin consists of two parts: the client settings and a persister. In the client settings, all data from the identity provider are stored. The account linking persister makes sure that information from the provider are linked with the local IAM account and stored correctly in the IAM database. So how do you set up the client settings? First of all, if your identity provider provides a discovery URL like Google, use the plugin OpenID Connect Discovery Client Settings. This will make the configuration much easier because a lot of settings are being automatically fetched from the discovery URL. Let's have a look at the client settings. On the basic settings, we can set the client ID and client secret from the identity provider. To obtain this information, you need to register an OpenID client ID on the Google Cloud Platform. This will generate a client ID and a client secret. Then we need an external base URL. This is the address where the OpenID provider Google will redirect the user after successful authentication, communication and discovery. Since Google provides a discovery URL, we can set it here. Airlock IAM will then obtain the configuration of the OpenID provider from this address. Authorization request. Most of the OpenID providers define which scopes can be requested. Google, as an example, provides the scopes email and profile. The scope OpenID enables OpenID Connect in the first place. Resource mappings. If the authentication with Google is successful, Google sends an ID token that contains data from the user. With the resource mappings, we can read this data and store it in the IAM database. Now the submenu account linking and registration is where we can set an OpenID provider as an alternative authentication service. First, we have to activate the account linking option. Next, we can set the account linking self-service. With account linking self-service, users have the option to delete or add a social account by themselves. That's it. With these settings, user can now link their local account with their Google account and therefore use either of these accounts to log into the application. In the second use case, we are focusing on an automated registration process with Google as the identity provider. The goal is that potential new customers don't need to register a new account. Instead, they just use their existing Google account to access the web service. To enable the automated account registration with the social login, we use the previously created configuration and add some additional settings. Let's go and have a look at the configuration. In the Account Linking and Registration submenu, we need to add a plugin in the automated account registration. Let's check out the settings inside of this plugin. The plugin is pretty simple. We determine which attribute should be used as username. In this case, we use the email address as the local username. Next, we define which user data from the provider should be stored. That's it. New user can use their existing Google account to register to this application. I have one useful tip while implementing account linking and automated account registration, and it's on the Integration submenu. We are able to set a specific logging strategy for account linking. Let's have a look. First, we can set debug logs on info, which puts the debug logs into the log viewer for easier analysis. Second, we can set the token logging strategy to plain token, which prints out the value of a token into the logs. Normally, those information are hidden. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions regarding this topic or would like to know more about the Airlock Secure Access Hub, please don't hesitate to contact us. You will find the contact infos in the description below. Bye-bye.